Welcome, everybody. Episode 98, Two Chaps, Many Cultures in the Twilight Zone. Well, we had a plan for today, and somehow that didn't work out. So when plans go awry, what do? Let's talk about this. Hey everybody, this is the Two Chaps, and this is Two Chaps and Many Cultures on a Wednesday. Well, it's evening in our world, no matter where you are in the world. It may be just the start of the day, and you may have plans for this day, and you'll have the best intentions to follow through on your goals and your well-defined, well-formed outcomes. And sometimes, can I swear on this program? Will people unfollow? Will the god of the internet ban us? Sometimes the shit hits the fan, and none of our plans work out. So what do we do? Brett, what plans didn't work out for you today? You had something come up for you.
Oh, flat tires, delays, missed appointments, got to go back and do stuff again. No, it's pretty much run of the mill. But in these times where we have to adapt, and we're all having to adapt, and we're all having to, we've all had our plans change. It might be worth reflecting on how we handle that through both our emotional, physical, and spiritual response. Wouldn't you say?
I would agree with you, because there are so many Walter II's motivational quotes that many of you may have heard, read, or seen somewhere before. Life is 90% what happens to you and 10% how you respond, or whatever the percentage is. All fine and dandy. What all these axioms, what all these belief systems and sentences are trying to explain or express is we as humans have a choice. Unlike many other living beings on this beautiful planet, we as humans can decide how we want to respond to what happens to us. And a lot of the things that happen in our lives are outside of our personal control. It's outside of the locus of control, as we say in behavioral training and communication training. However, we have a choice how we want to respond to it. So if things go sideways, if your plans don't pan out, if you got a flat tire, and I still haven't heard the full story around this. I want to find out, did you inflict it upon yourself, or was there outside influence that caused this? I'm curious, Brett. But no matter what happens, what derails our plans, we have it in ourselves. We have a choice how we want to respond to it. Do we play victim? Do we make it about ourselves? Oh, why is this happening to me all the time? Oh, poor me. Look at me. I have these circumstances in my way. I can't follow through. Well, you have the choice to do that, or you can choose to say, well, this is the cards that are being dealt. This is outside of my control. What's the best I can do given the resources I have available right now?
Absolutely. And there's not much of a story. Flat tires are what they are. These are things that come along in life. And, I do live in Chicago. This is a place where there is a constant battle between the public, regular Joe Public, and what causes flat tires in these on the streets and the wonderful byways of Chicago. That being aside, yes, I could blame that. I could blame outside influences. Maybe I didn't check things before I took off. But at the end of the day, it's a good lesson in basically just taking stock and saying, you know what? It is what it is, and I'm going to have to deal with it. I mean, I can't drive with the damn thing, so so I've got to make sure I plan for it, but I get around it. But I think it's Yeah, that whatever that quote is, you're right. There are things, especially in the intercultural realm, where you're going to come across things because you're not anticipating what the differences and the changes might inflict on your best laid plans as an international business person of repute, right? Good repute. Then you're going to need to come up with a plan. And so many times it's just maybe looking at how you've responded to things in the past, be anticipatory of the possible things that might, as best you can, but then realize that a lot of this stuff is out of your control. And at the end of the day, you know, I will push back a little bit about, are we the only species that is able to do this? I heard the other day that otters actually have a social learning ability. Do you know that?
Look at that. I did not know that. See?
And it is. See, otters have a social learning ability. Now, I think we've already known this about bees and ants and stuff like that. You know, but when it comes to
utterly fascinating.
Utterly fascinating, right? But it was about where they find wood for, you know, they're building whatever their little houses are and that kind of thing. They pass these things on. Anyway, I'm getting off the track. I'm sure in
just
the
like
otter
your plans got off the track today.
I'm sure in the otter world, the river doesn't flow the same way as the previous otter told you it was flowing. So you could go back to that place where that otter told you where the best wood was, and it's gone. And then, you know, what do? Do you go up? Do you go back to your otter buddy and beat him up? You know, or
I think this frustration with plans that go sideways, to a certain degree, it has to do with our cultural predisposition. So if we come from cultures that have a tendency to plan ahead, to have systems and structures in our lives, and that aim for predictability, if not certainty, for those of us who come from cultural backgrounds that value these things, the deviation from that plan or the disruption, outside influence, will shake our system. It will really rattle our core. If we come from cultures that do not place so much emphasis on eliminating uncertainties, that do not place much emphasis on future casting and, well, planning and structuring, and are traditionally okay with ambiguity and letting things appear as they do, those cultures may not have it. They may not be emotionally affected as much. And I come from a culture that was heavily influenced by European and Christian values. And it wasn't until I discovered some of the Eastern philosophies, Eastern as in Asian philosophies, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, Taoism, that seem to have in common this this idea of your personal discomfort, your unhappiness, your frustration is connected to your inability to let go of your expectations. So I'm paraphrasing Buddha. The root cause of our human suffering is our holding on to, clawing to our expectations. And this is what planning is, right? We have expectations. We project ourselves into the future. What will we have accomplished by the end of the day? What is it that I want to do? This. Here's how I'm going to get to that. So I tie an expectation to that imagined outcome, and holding on to how I'm going to get there, and the fact that I am going to get there can be a reason for frustration if that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this reminds me of a story, and I'm going to forget what culture it was, but there's a writer who came to the US as a refugee, and his experience when they're escaping from where they came from was that they were waiting for buses, him and his family, and the bus, he was screaming to get on to not get on a bus because he was a young kid. He didn't want to get on the bus. His parents decided not to get on the bus and wait for the next one just because they wanted to placate him. He settled down. The bus they were going to get on took off, drove down the road, and then was hit by a missile or blew up. It was unbelievable. And then they got on the next bus and they escaped and they came to America. Now, he learned growing up in America about kind of reflection and saying, well, you know, what if this had happened and what if that had happened? And thank goodness this didn't happen, right? All these kind of unknowns that we reflect on with 2020 vision. And he was fascinated by when he would bring this up to his parents would actually say, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as what would have happened, what might have happened. There's no such thing in our culture. And I want from memory to think that it may have been the Vietnamese culture, but it's just it's how impactful that reflecting on something that could have been, should have been, would have been, is possibly not as important for other cultures. So when they come across these hardships and their lives are turned upside down, they have this ability to look forward in a very positive way and not think about what could have, should have, would have happened if they'd have done A, B, or C. And so, you know, could I have done certain things today to alleviate the possibility of a flat tire? I absolutely could have, because it turns out if I'd have done so, I probably would have avoided it. But again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I could do this all day. It's not going to change the fact I had a flat tire. And I'm still here, and it's still a wonderful day. I go home to my family, and I'm going to enjoy the evening. And I get to come live in these trying situations, even when, you know, possibly I didn't feel like, but I'm glad I did.
Well, I made him, basically. I told him we're doing this regardless.
Said,
I mean, all
he's
joking,
a hard taskmaster.
Yeah, twisted his arm a little bit. Now, I think that this is a characteristic of Asian and also African cultures. This being more present with the moment, being in the now, because the now is the only time that is real as we are in it. The past is gone. The future is unpredictable. So the only time that we can live in is the very moment in which we are right now. So fretting the fact that the plan didn't work out is, I think, human nature. That's okay. I think it's the question of how long do we want to hold on to that frustration? Do we have the emotional and self-talk flexibility to say, okay, this is what's happening right now. How can I make the best of this? What is my next best possible outcome of this? And how do I course correct, so to say? And this is something that I struggled with for a long time. I think it wasn't until my mid-30s that I slowly began to accept the fact that all my thinking about stuff and wanting it to be a certain way isn't helping me at all. And this was long after I had begun dealing internationally. This is long after I had been introduced to other cultures. I was still holding on to the way I wanted my life to be, or how I had my expectations set. Maybe in connection with others, family members, business partners, we had joint expectations, and still sometimes they don't work out. Those plans go sideways. And man, did I live through my frustrations, and did I have others have it, right? In hindsight, didn't serve anyone, least of all me.
Yeah. But now it's all good.
Well, it's getting better.
It's getting better.
I'm getting there somehow. How's retired? Did you fix it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you know, tell us what your answer is when things go awry, when things pop up that have completely flustered your plans and changed your point of view of what might be coming down the track. We'd love to hear from you, as always. Comments and questions in the appropriate places.
And likes and hearts and applause buttons and whatever buttons you find.
Absolutely. And we'll be back tomorrow. This is episode 98, getting very close to that big number, which, we're putting the plans in place. Should we just let it go past? Like, it's just something, I don't know. Maybe we'll plan for it. Maybe we will. Maybe something will just turn up.
We'll see. The way we are with our plans, we'll see.
Absolutely.
So, your tire is fixed. The vehicle is drivable.
We're all good. We're back on the road. No problem.
Look at that. Elbow is healing. You didn't see this.
Absolutely.
As he left the green room, he hit the gray space on the tarmac. So
the green room and the gray space, right?
All right, good.
And now it'll probably turn purple, which is
beautiful. We'll share that tomorrow. I want to see the whole shade of the hematome development.
Battle wounds.
The war wounds of live television.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This was episode 98, Two Chaps and Many Cultures. Let us know where you're dialing in from. Let us know how you like this stuff. We've been around the block for a little bit, so now bring it on. Let us have it. Give us feedback. Tell us if you like it. Tell us if you don't. Let us know who you would like to see on this program. Engage with us. Share your experiences with us. And most of all, don't be a stranger, because we'll be back tomorrow at a time we will announce whenever we know it, when the plan has evolved far enough.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.
Bye.